In the past, the United States stood as the ultimate dream destination for millions across the globe. It promised prosperity, freedom, and a better quality of life. Generations of immigrants left everything behind to pursue the American dream, a life where hard work paid off, and anyone, regardless of their background, could achieve success. From high-skilled professionals to low-wage workers, people came with hopes of building a better future for themselves and their families. The U.S. was seen as a land of opportunity, innovation, and upward mobility. However, that image has started to shift dramatically in recent years. Increasingly, immigrants who once saw America as a beacon of hope are now choosing to pack their bags and leave. This shift isn't just anecdotal. Statistics show a growing number of foreign-born residents are voluntarily exiting the country or choosing not to renew visas. While some still see potential in the U.S., many are disillusioned by what they've actually experienced, a life marked by high costs, broken systems, and constant struggle. So, why is this happening? What factors are pushing people away from the so-called American dream? Let's break it down across 6 major aspects that are influencing this growing trend. Number 1. Cost of living. One of the biggest reasons immigrants are leaving the U.S. is the soaring cost of living. While America has never been considered cheap, the past decade has seen living expenses shoot through the roof, especially in major urban centers like New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Housing costs are out of control. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in many cities exceeds $2,000 per month, and buying a home is increasingly out of reach for middle-class families. Even smaller towns and suburbs are becoming unaffordable, forcing many immigrants into cramped, shared housing or long commutes. Everyday necessities, like groceries, utilities, and childcare, have also become far more expensive. For immigrants supporting families here or sending remittances back home, the financial burden becomes overwhelming. Many begin to realize that their money could go much further in other countries, where they can enjoy a better standard of living with less stress. Number 2. Economy. While the U.S. is still one of the largest economies in the world, economic inequality and instability are growing concerns. Immigrants often arrive with the hope of building wealth and achieving financial independence, but the reality can be disheartening. The job market, especially for non-citizens, is not as welcoming as it once was. Many immigrants find themselves stuck in low-paying or unstable jobs with limited benefits and little room for growth. Meanwhile, inflation continues to erode their purchasing power, and wages are not keeping pace. The recent layoffs in tech, finance, and other industries have also affected skilled immigrants, including those on temporary work visas like the H-1B. If they lose their job, they often have just 60 days to find another one or leave the country, causing stress and uncertainty for entire families. Additionally, many immigrants come from countries with stronger social safety nets. In the U.S., one illness, one accident, or one job loss can wipe out savings and throw families into crisis. This constant financial insecurity pushes many to consider returning to more stable environments. Number 3. Healthcare system. One of the most common complaints among immigrants is the American healthcare system, often described as confusing, expensive, and unfair. Unlike many developed countries that offer universal healthcare, the U.S. relies on a private insurance model that can be both financially and emotionally draining. Immigrants without employer-sponsored insurance often struggle to afford coverage, leading them to skip doctor visits, avoid necessary treatments, or resort to emergency care as a last resort. Even those with insurance face high deductibles, co-pays, and surprise bills. A simple hospital visit can cost thousands of dollars. Prescription medication is often unaffordable, and mental health services are hard to access unless you're wealthy. For immigrants used to free or affordable healthcare in their home countries, places like the UK, Canada, or Scandinavian nations, the U.S. healthcare experience is both shocking and disappointing. Many return home or relocate to countries where they don't have to choose between health and financial survival. Number 4. Education systems. The U.S. is home to some of the world's best universities, but when it comes to primary and secondary education, the system is highly inconsistent and often disappointing for immigrant families. In poorer areas, where many immigrants reside, the quality of public schools is significantly lower. Underfunded schools, overcrowded classrooms, and outdated curriculums make it difficult for children to thrive academically. Many immigrants feel their children are not getting the education they were promised. Then there's the cost of higher education. College tuition in the U.S. is astronomically high. A 4-year degree at a public university can cost over $100,000, while private universities often charge more. Student loan debt is a national crisis, and many immigrants don't want their children burdened by it. Compare this to countries like Germany, Canada, or the Netherlands, where higher education is either free or affordable, and it's no surprise that many families are opting to leave the U.S. in search of better educational opportunities for their children. Number 5. Work-life balance. The hustle culture in the U.S. has become a burnout culture, and immigrants are feeling the heat. In many countries, paid vacation, sick leave, and parental leave are standard rights. In the U.S., they are privileges, often dependent on your employer or job type. The average American gets only 2 weeks of vacation per year, and many workers are afraid to even use that time for fear of job insecurity. Immigrants, particularly those working in blue-collar or service industries, often work long hours, multiple jobs, and nights or weekends just to make ends meet. This leaves little time for family, rest, or self-care. The lack of government-mandated work protections, combined with toxic work environments and pressure to constantly produce, makes the American lifestyle unsustainable for many. As a result, immigrants are increasingly seeking countries that value quality of life over quantity of work, countries like France, Spain, or Australia. Number 6. Food and dietary challenges. For many immigrants, adapting to the American food system can be both culturally and financially difficult. In the U.S., processed and fast foods are often cheaper and more accessible than fresh, nutritious meals. This leads to unhealthy eating habits, especially for families on tight budgets. Culturally familiar ingredients are also harder to find or come at a premium price in ethnic grocery stores. Immigrants from countries with rich culinary traditions often feel disconnected from their roots due to the lack of authentic options. Moreover, concerns about food quality, excessive sugar and preservatives, and a lack of affordable organic options push many to consider returning to countries where healthy, home-cooked meals are the norm and more affordable. Number 7. Transport system. Finally, let's talk about transportation, an overlooked but important factor in quality of life. In much of the U.S., the public transportation infrastructure is outdated, inefficient, or non-existent. Immigrants without access to a car find it incredibly hard to commute, especially in sprawling cities where jobs, schools, and services are miles apart. Unlike countries with reliable and affordable public transit, like Japan, Germany, or even Singapore, the U.S. is heavily car-dependent. Maintaining a vehicle comes with its own set of costs: insurance, gas, repairs, parking, and more. Traffic congestion, long commutes, and the lack of pedestrian-friendly cities add to daily stress. For immigrants used to walking, biking, or taking efficient trains and buses, the U.S. transportation system can be frustrating and limiting. The American dream still exists, for some, but it's becoming harder to reach and even harder to sustain. While the U.S. offers many opportunities, the rising cost of living, economic uncertainty, broken healthcare, inconsistent education, poor work-life balance, and weak public transport are major turnoffs for today's immigrants. As global mobility increases and other countries step up their game in offering better services and lifestyles, the U.S. is no longer the default choice. Immigrants are making bold decisions, not just to leave their home country, but to leave America, too. They're searching for more affordable, healthier, and more fulfilling lives elsewhere. And in many cases, they're finding them.